Welcome, everyone. My name's David Bowders, and I'm the CEO of Trade Hounds, and I'm here today with Chris York. Chris is the VP of Construction Channel for Siemens. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
So we'd like to talk a little bit today about a new Siemens offering to distributors called Project on Demand. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So we call it POD for short, and it's projects on demand. And what that is our distributors can inventory what is normally a custom built solution out of our factories, and they can build up that custom solution using inventory and get that product, get that solution to the market very quickly.
So these are basically value-added assemblies, panels, things like that.
There's value add that they do. They assemble, which means they have to have a little bit of technical competency, but they don't have to have a UL certification or anything like that. But they need to carry inventory, and they need to be able to price that to the market, and they need to be able to assemble it and put it together for the contractors.
Okay, and how does it work in terms of your relationship with the distributor? What kinds of assistance do you give them? What type of support do they get in executing the program?
Yeah, so once they decide that they are on board to do that, they need to have space in their warehouse, not just to carry the equipment, but also an assembly space. So, and then we help them learn how to put the product together safely and with high quality, again, using our UL. And then we also help them market it. And then if we do all that right, then the customers in the market know that we have the product available. Once they know it's available, a lot of customers start using it because it's a very quick solution.
Okay. And historically, how long would it have taken, and how does this cut down on the lead times for your customers?
Yeah, that's good question. So lead times in our industry have come down quite a bit, but they're still 3 or 4 times higher than historical norms. So we have some power distribution equipment that takes up to almost a year to get. So where our lead times used to be maybe 12 weeks, let's say. Well, with this, it's not a highly customizable solution, so it's not highly specified equipment, but it still does the trick. 4,000 amp service with whatever branches you want in that. That power distribution equipment can now be delivered in, if you have it in inventory, you could deliver that within, let's say, a week instead of waiting almost a year in some cases.
So that's a big breakthrough for a contractor's perspective.
Well, it is, and not all projects are a quick turn and need to be done quick ship, but there are quite a number that are. And so, when we do, let's say we're building an airport, well, there's a whole planning cycle around that. There's a bid process, a submittal process. Those are planned out projects, but we work on a lot of projects in our markets where the electrical system needs to be delivered and installed and turned on much quicker than what we can get it there.
Because that's the bottleneck in the project.
That's the bottleneck right now, yep.
And what kind of workforce development do distributors need to have to be able to support that?
Well, most distributors are selling, and they have technical resources. They do project management. They have their inventory that they're trying to sell. So they do need to be ready to do a little bit of assembly. But I would consider it light assembly. So it's not a heavy lift from a labor standpoint, but there is labor involved. So that workforce development is, okay, do I have people in my organization that are willing to put their hands on this equipment?
On tools, basically.
On tools, right? And learn how to use those tools and use them properly.
Okay. So, and then once they've got that part figured out, who's going to do the work, then do you offer training to them to show them how to do it?
Yeah. We have a whole program where we train them on, well, one, what products to offer, and then how to put those together with the right torques. We even give them tools in a lot of cases to help them do it, because we want the product to hit the field in a high quality state.
And how do you make sure that when you're adding value like that, that the distributor knows how to capture that value in terms of price?
When, if you're a distributor, your project business where you issue a purchase order and the product flows to the job site, that's kind of low touch, a lot of times lower margin. But when you're carrying inventory, that's money, that's cash. Money costs money. And then you're putting your labor into the solution as well. You can't do that for low margins, and make money.
You can't slap a 10 or a 20 on it. And
no, you can't. Really, and it's really meant to be a higher margin product. But I will say this, it should be a higher margin product for our distributor, but they also have more invested, and they have time and labor invested as well. But it's meant to be a reasonable premium to the market the market would pay a premium for that because it is a
Speed.
higher margin, but they're getting speed.
Right. So if you think about the types of projects this type of solution would go into, is this primarily quoted project? Is it service work? How would you describe the
Yes,
ICP? For that?
yes, and yes. And where I would say it doesn't apply is longer time planned work that is highly specified. So, a lot of projects in our construction world, let's say hospitals or airports or school buildings or
Regulated
universities.
environments, yeah.
Yeah, and they're long planning cycles and they're highly specified. The thing about POD is that it's not highly specified. Yes, it's that 4,000 amp service with these branch breakers. But if you want brass bolts, well, it doesn't have brass bolts. That's highly specified.
So it's flexible as to how you get to the definition of the product, as opposed to one where it's very narrowly specified.
That's right. So what I would say is that our scope is narrowly specified in that, okay, you get copper bus. So if you want aluminum bus, most people that want aluminum bus will automatically take copper bus, but we only offer copper bus. So, okay, you're getting copper. Okay, check, not a problem. You're getting this AIC. You're getting this feature set. If you want to go outside of the bounds of that, it's not just brass bolts, it's many, many other things. All right, now you're into specified work. Well, then that goes into our factories. That's what takes a long lead time to get. So you do have to forfeit some features if you're going to get a
More standardization.
POD. Yep, you're going to get a standardized solution.
So how do you help contractors be aware of this breakthrough in terms of speed? Like, how do you build awareness and demand for it in the marketplace?
Yeah, so, many ways, right? We certainly want to market it, but this is something that a distributor has to make a conscious decision that they want to do. I want to participate in this business. Once they do, we help them, but we need to market it. The market needs to know that our distributors have it. And quite honestly, we need our salespeople out selling that. And then what I would say is once contractors start using this solution, then they know that that's a go-to that they can rely on. Okay, when I have quick turn work, I know that this distributor has Siemens POD. They can get me quick turn solutions, and then they start using it. Once you prime the pump, I think it starts flowing.
It becomes a preference in the market
Yes.
at that point. So if you could talk a little bit about, from a contractor's perspective, how will they know what types of projects they should be looking for this type of solution?
Yeah, so that's a really good question because it is a standardized product. Many contractors do design build work, meaning that it's not super highly specified and plan and spec work. So they're doing electrical work for certain users. They can design around the types of solutions that we have, and they're more than willing to do that if they know that they can get the solution quickly.
Of course, that allows them to be able to price to their customer and build more demand and potentially better margins as well, being the fastest to execute.
It absolutely does, because power distribution equipment right now is not the easiest to get. So if you have a solution that you can offer to your customers as a contractor quickly, and that's part of your bid to them, and you've got your supply chain already established, that's a value that you should be able to also charge for.
You talked about the importance of having salespeople help contractors be aware of this. Is this typically your salespeople, rep agents, distributor salespeople? Like, what's the
I would say
transfer of knowledge here?
I would say mostly our own distributor, our own salespeople. So we tend to have our own salespeople. We have a few reps, but not a lot. Most of them are direct Siemens sellers, and we would want them to be selling with our distributors to these contractors.
Calling on the contractors.
Calling on them together.
Are these mostly big contractors, little contractors, commercial? How would you describe the ICP here?
I would say all, because even a lot of smaller contractors, medium-sized contractors, but even big contractors do small work, right? You mentioned it earlier, service work. Perfect opportunity to sell POD
Time
solutions.
sensitive, yeah.
Time sensitive, and even large contractors do small work.
So as you think about the overall Siemens portfolio of service, how does this fit in terms of helping contractors be faster, better, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is our avenue to get them equipment quickly. That is the number one problem that we're trying to solve. We obviously can still do quick ships out of our factories, but keep in mind, when you're doing a quick ship in a factory, you're essentially jumping the line ahead of the other 50 weeks of lead time that we have.
There's consequences.
So to jump the line, the charge is a lot because we expedite equipment, especially if it's highly specified, where there's all kinds of parts of that supply chain. So what I like about this solution is it gives us a reasonable price, still a low price for a quick ship solution, as long as you're willing to give up the highly specialized part.
So do you view this as being a solution like just mostly in big metropolitan areas? Like how would you define where this will be most successful?
I think that it's a good solution everywhere because it can be for small projects. I mean, think about, like I say, a school. It's probably not the best solution for a school unless they're changing out their service and they just want to do that over the summer. But what if you're doing a renovation to a church or you're building a warehouse? Those are easier solutions because they're not highly specified. Yes, there's an engineer of record, but time is many times very important in those types of installs.
Well, Chris, it's been great to learn about this service. I think it's great that Siemens is innovating in ways that really help the entire value stream, accelerate work and really get things done faster.
Yeah, well, thanks for talking to us about it. It's a program that we're very proud of. We put a lot of time and effort into, and we've got quite a number of good channel partners for us that are doing this in the market. We essentially have this solution available to you as a customer, no matter where you are in the United States.
Well, our contractor customers, thank you. We appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.